You know that feeling, right? Your computer, your trusted sidekick for pretty much everything, suddenly just gets a cold. It's sluggish, it won't listen, it's just off. So, what's actually happening when your PC gets sick? Well, let's dive in and find out. Does this sound familiar or what? That horrible sinking feeling when you're right in the middle of something important and your screen just locks up? It's a universal moment of tech-induced panic, for sure. I mean, who hasn't felt this way? It's that moment of pure frustration where you might, be tempted to give the machine a little tap, 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 a bit of percussive maintenance. But we all know that doesn't really work. So what's the real problem? It's such a common story, isn't it? Your computer starts acting weird, and where does your mind go immediately? For most of us, it's that one word, virus. But is that always what's going on? Okay, first up, let's actually talk about that infuriating freeze, that moment when your entire digital world just grinds to a halt. We call this a freeze, and honestly, it feels just as cold as it sounds. Your mouse cursor becomes a statue, your keyboard is completely useless, and you are totally locked out of your own machine. So, what's really behind the freeze? To get to the bottom of it, we need to get familiar with a couple of key terms. Let's decode this thing. So, what exactly is a computer virus? Well, you can think of it like a digital gremlin. It's basically a piece of code that someone designed specifically to cause chaos and damage your computer. And, like any good villain, a virus needs a place to hide. And that's where infected files come into the picture. They're kind of like a digital Trojan horse, a file that looks totally harmless on the outside, but is secretly carrying something nasty. This is exactly what your antivirus software is hunting for when it does a scan. And in our story here, the user's worst fears were confirmed. The scan found a system that was just full of these infected files. But here's the real mystery. How did this even happen? I mean, you're careful, right? You don't click on strange links or download weird stuff. So how did your digital fortress get breached? Well, the answer, as it turns out, is often a really simple, overlooked detail that can cause the absolute biggest headaches. And the culprit? Software that is not up to date. In this super fast-paced world of cybersecurity, being not up to date is just another way of saying you're vulnerable. This chart here really says it all. Up-to-date software is like having a strong shield that protects you from all the newest threats. Outdated software, that's like leaving the front door wide open and putting out a welcome mat for viruses. This is why those update notifications are so important. And there it is. That's our answer. It wasn't about being careless. It was about having a defense system that was old and out of date. An old antivirus program is like having a security guard who's fast asleep at their post. Sure, being cautious is important, but it is no substitute for up-to-date protection. So now that we've diagnosed the problem, let's switch gears and talk about how to, talk about it. Here are a few phrases that'll make you sound like a tech pro, even if you don't feel like one. Instead of getting tangled up in a bunch of technical jargon, you can use a simple, really natural phrase like this. It's acting up. It's just a quick and easy way to say something's wrong. And what's great is that this phrase is so versatile. It's not just for computers. Your car can act up, your TV can act up. It just sounds so much more fluent and natural than saying something is acting strangely. Okay, here's another great one to have in your back pocket. It turns out that this is the perfect phrase for those aha moments, when you finally figure out what's really going on. It's a great way to deliver a conclusion or a finding. For instance, he didn't come to work today. It turns out that he was sick. Or, going back to our story, I ran a scan, and it turns out that you have infected files. It just connects the action to the results in a really natural way. All right, now that you know how to talk about the problem, let's look at a phrase that'll help you jump in and solve it. When somebody asks you for help, maybe from another floor in the house, a simple, "I'll be right up," is a great way to let them know you're on your way. And this phrase actually has a few handy variations. "I'll be right there" is sort of your all-purpose, "I'm coming." If you need to go downstairs, you'd say, "I'll be right down." And if you're in another room, say the kitchen, "I'll be right out," is the polite way to say, "Just give me a minute." Mastering these little phrases can make a really big difference. They help you sound more natural, more confident, and they let you navigate these everyday tricky situations with a whole lot more ease. So there you have it. You've got the tools, you know the real culprit behind a lot of these computer colds, and you even have the language to talk about it like a pro. So I'll leave you with this thought. The next time your tech starts to act up, what's the very first thing you're going to check? I think you know the answer. Thanks for watching.